Today we're taking a look at fantasy baseball waiver wire suggestions for this week. To help us, we've got Heath Capps of SB Nation's Fake Teams. What hitter should fantasy owners look to pick up on the waiver wire?
The hitter I'm recommending is Domingo Santana. What I like about Santana is that he bats first in order for Milwaukee, and even though his strikeout rate is around 30%, he fits what the Brewers hope to do on offense this year, which is to be something of a boom or a bust sort of an offense, much like the Houston Astros. And Santana is a guy who has always been highly regarded for his raw power. So even though his ISO number right now is around 164, he is a guy that could easily finish with a mark much closer to the 200 level. And he's hitting the ball very hard. Right now he is third in the league in exit velocity at about 96 miles per hour. That puts him just ahead of a guy like Miguel Cabrera or Mark Trumbo, and sort of gives you an idea of the power potential he does have, even though his ground ball rate has been a little high so far this year. I do think that his spike in walk rate, which is around 11%, is a big deal. It means that he's getting on base in front of Ryan Braun, and his on base percentage is at 341, and that's a really solid mark. He's getting on base a lot in front of Braun, and for a guy who's 30% owned in Yahoo, I think he's got a good bit of upside and a lot more than most other names you'll find close to his. So he's a guy I'd recommend.
Moving over to pitchers, what readily available player should be targeted?
The pitcher I'm recommending is Nate Eovaldi. He is a guy who's been a little frustrating due to giving up some home runs, and so far in 2016 he's had a little bit of bad luck. He's allowing a little more hard contact than what he normally has, but that's a small sample size, so he's at about 35.8% hard contact, and for his career that number's been down closer to 30%. So his home run to fly ball ratio right now is around 16%, which is also an inflated mark. His career mark in that area is about 7.4, and last year as a Yankee that number was about 7.8. So there's a good chance that he starts to have some positive regression in that area. And he's always sort of had the upside at strikeouts, and right now he's striking out 28% of the batters that he faces, which is a very good mark. And his walk percentage is also down from his career number. His walk percentage is around 5%. So if you look at some advanced pitching statistics, instead of just looking at the 4.38 ERA, if you look at Skill Interactive ERA and XFIP, the numbers are much lower, suggesting that this is a guy that has a little bit more talent than what we've seen. So Nate Eovaldi is about 16% owned on Yahoo, and gives you a little bit of strikeout upside, and probably not going to have an ERA under 3, but I do think there's a good chance it's much closer to 4, and a small chance it's even in the high 3s with a guy who right now has a 10.22 strikeout per 9 innings going. So he's got a lot of upside, and that's the pitcher I'd recommend.
Check out what all the experts think by viewing our expert consensus rankings, and get advice for your fantasy lineups with our My Playbook tool, both available at fantasypros.com.